If you're someone worried about the crypto market right now, you've got to understand this very important step that will allow you to remove the risk and still look at gains like this. 10K in a 750K, we're talking about a 75X here. This is not a joke. This isn't some meme coin. This isn't a course. This is nothing other than you changing some very important steps right now to allow you to minimize your risk and minimize your worry and panic and still maximize your gains. Just promise me you'll watch this whole video so you can understand what I'm going to say completely, because this method is something institutions, large private investors do to make their generational wealth. And we're not utilizing it. Why? Because we're designed as retail small fish in this massive sea to be very emotional, short-term investors. We've got to make money now. We've got to change our life tomorrow. Lambo, Ferrari, and so on. I'm telling you, please, this might be the most important video you watch in 2025. But first of all, before I get into that tactic, you've got to understand likely where you are emotionally right now. So there's two mindsets you are probably in. The first headspace is you're this guy, extremely stressed, and that's because you've put extremely high expectations on yourself to make some good gains in this bull run. And what I'm talking about here was once realistic gains a few months ago. Take render going to $150, for example's sake. That was once an 11.5x or a 15x, okay? But now it's a 44x from these levels. And so a 44x definitely does not sound as plausible as 15 or a 10x, as crazy as they are regardless. But that, of course, comes for those of us who have a very clear goal or target in mind. Maybe we have a target here of making $200,000 with render. We put $5,000 into render. That means we know that we need to 40x. Now, not everyone is like that. For 60% of people, it is a lot worse. And the reason why is because most people just come into crypto because crypto is known for big gains. Overnight gains when Lambo, right? And so you're starting with $5,000, but you've got absolutely no plan or direction in place to be able to achieve a goal. Matter of fact, you didn't even have a clear goal in mind, which means you just round up to the nearest 100x. Most people have likely 50 or 100x or 200x, maybe even no clear target in mind, which means they're probably even more stressed right now because, again, they have infinite multiples they need to make up. As a fun little fact for everyone at home, Peter from House of Crypto describes this perfectly. You're more likely to be struck by lightning twice and survive then you are to make $50,000 in these small cap meme coins that you kind of maybe come into crypto hoping you'd get rich overnight in, or even just a measly $1,000. Okay, you're more likely to get into Harvard and Stanford in the same bloody year or be drafted into the NBA as a college player. The second mindset you are probably in is once I'm back to break even, I'm completely out. Forget about my dream of $150 surrender. That's even if you have a plan in place, of course. I'm just going to sell everything when I'm back to break even, no matter how little multiples that is. This means taking your risk and lowering it, simultaneously taking your reward and boosting it, so making more money. How much money? I'm still talking turning 10K into 750K, which is a 75x. Still talking about this, but removing a lot of risk, a lot of the worry that you are struggling with right now. So hang in tight because the actual plan will come in just a few minutes, but I must cover a few very important things that I think will go ahead and also help you in addition to still 75 or 100xing your portfolio right now and making some crazy gains. It will come, just wait. First thing here is what I talk about in the private community. This is a screenshot of my actual portfolio right now, and I've got 4 different groups of sell levels I always eye off. But the most important one I think on this list is what I call my highest gain sell levels. These are the sell levels for each of the coins I own that I've put in place here when I'm bearish. So in a bearish mindset, not a bullish and greedy mindset, where I say this is the highest possible price I'm willing to sell this coin at. So my average sell price, this is the limit. Why that's important to do is because when the market turns bullish, which I believe it will, okay, even though I think the coin can go higher, I'm going to hard cap my prediction for that coin and just sell it all at that important level, okay? Because that level is what I deemed when I was bearish the limit. That's as far as I'm willing to go. So I know deep down if I decide to go, you know what, I might sell a little bit higher, at that point, that risk is all on me, and that's me just being completely greedy. So this is one way you can prevent yourself from feeling that greed, because in my opinion, greed is actually worse than the fear we've been feeling right now. And you damn well bet you're going to be extremely greedy when the market starts going up. Like I said, especially if you are someone who is prone to saying, when I'm break even, I'm going to sell out. Just statistically, based on the last bull runs, you're more likely to be someone who round trips your bags than anyone else. So don't let greed win. Set up the highest possible sell levels you're willing to stomach right now, and they do not go any higher than that, no matter how bullish the bull run is, no matter how much your coin is pumping. Now, if you don't believe me, this is kind of the pattern that will play out here for that sort of person in mindset number 2, where once you break even, let's just say for Ethereum over here, break even in the previous cycle, let's just say was about $324. So this yellow line here. So throughout this whole entire bear market period, these ups and these downs, you're likely again someone who's been put through it. You're sick of it. You just want to break even. So when break even comes back, let's just say after the third tease, right? You've been teased twice. It ain't happening. No bull run. Okay. The third time comes around and you're like, okay, now I'm going to start to think about it. But again, as you can see, that third time comes after a lot of bullishness. To be honest, okay, actually, as a matter of fact, this comes after almost a 4x. So Ethereum's 4x. You've gone from $87 to $327. Now, again, based on the last few bull runs, people in this mindset, I'm not, again, attacking you. I'm just trying to help you here, okay? People in this mindset will usually say to themselves, you know what? We've just 4x, not just 4x. We've had Bitcoin looking bullish. We've got altcoins looking bullish. YouTubers are bullish again. No one's bearish at all. The macro is looking bullish. Everything is lining up. Money's flowing in. Influencers like traditional influencers are talking about crypto. So the last thing you're thinking about is selling. And why that's bad is because you will put yourself into a bull run. But just like over here, you weren't able to sell, you are much less prone to want to sell up here. Okay, especially if, again, you don't have a clear plan in place. So this plan I'm about to tell you is one way you can actually minimize this, actually take profits from this bull run, and again, remove the worry you're feeling right now. So this will help people in this second mindset as well as the first. And of course, that first mindset is those people who are looking at how much multiples they have to make out of their coins right now that were once somewhat realistic for crypto standards. And all I've got to say to you guys is, number one, think about it like this. For render to go from roughly $3.40, let's say a 2x is about $7. So for render to go up to about $7, okay, it needs to 2x. Now, for render to 2x, that 44x turns into a 22x. Now, some of you may be thinking, Kyron, a 22x for my exit price is way too high still. Okay, that's fine. What happens if it 3x's, okay? What happens if it goes to around about $10? Or back over here, $10.40. Okay, it's now a 15x. And now it's somewhat realistic again. And if you're thinking, Kyron, well, that's going to take a very long time for render to go back up, fly it up to, $7, then get back up to $10. Let me tell you something right now. This comes very, very quickly. If you want actual numbers, I can give you numbers. For render to go up to roughly $7, we know how much money will be required to push it up. It's not doubling the market cap. You don't need $1.7 billion to 2x render. What you need is look at the depth, okay, the order book size. And in this case, for render to go up 2% depth, it requires no more than $200,000 to $300,000. Think about it. About $300,000 to move render 2%. What is 300,000 times 50? Now, that number is $15 million. Now, if the order book increases in size along the 2x, which it will, we can roughly multiply that by 2. So roughly speaking, $30 million. Account for some sell pressure. Let's double that again, $60 million. So for roughly speaking, $60 million, maybe even round up to $100 million, you're 2xing render with sell pressure. So you don't need much money for the coins to go up a lot. And as life comes back into the crypto market, you damn well bet we're going to go back up at these levels very, very quickly for strong coins. And so that means that your 44x right now will very quickly become a 15x or maybe even a 10x. So those three things are ways that I've helped myself not be as worried and I think be one step ahead of most of the market. A lot of this is psychology. When you know how most people think based on history, you can just look back and go, this is what's likely to happen yet again. And you can see the same patterns playing out. People saying back to break even, there's a good chance many people will not sell at break even. Looking at some of these high multiples, again, while some of them are quite crazy to look at, okay, like a 44x is definitely possible in the right conditions for some of these large cap coins, okay, from these low levels. The list goes on, okay, but now I want to talk about, again, I think the biggest, absolute biggest way that you can remove worry, remove risk as well, actually, and also increase gain. So what I'm talking about here is looking for less multiples in this bull run, especially if you are very worried right now. So again, accepting lower multiples in this bull run, but then in the next bull market, whether it comes via crypto, or maybe you want to be a stock guy and just go into stocks, maybe you've had your run with crypto, never again, right? Maybe you're just a Bitcoin guy from now on, whatever, but just making a little bit more multiples in the next cycle. So it's called multi-cycle compounding, and this is the way that these large institutions, these large private investors are able to make their money whilst leaving us retail small fish high and dry, because they don't have a, hey, how can I make $1 billion tomorrow? You know, these guys have their money. They're looking to preserve it and make it over the course of a few years or a few decades. They have time on their side. We feel like we don't, okay? And so all I'm saying, it's very simple. It's called multi-cycle compounding. So taking the money we've been using to buy crypto over the last few years, okay, when this bull run comes, it's looking to sell with being realistic, not a 50x, not a 100x. Again, going back to render, maybe right now you're like, hey, after I break even, okay, after I'm back at this level right here, let's just say I'm just going to 2x. Maybe that's just you. Maybe you just look for a 2x. But again, what I'm getting at is being safe here, maybe getting a 2x, taking the money you've made in this bull run, getting out, buying and using that money to buy crypto stocks, whatever it may be, in the next bear market, and then looking for a bit more multiples in the next bull run. Because the effect here is, again, compounding. So it's like a fixed deposit in your bank account. Okay, fixed deposits work on yearly yield. Might be 5% yield. So if you put $1,000 into a long locked up term deposit, that of course is yearly yield, but it compounds likely on a time frame. Normally, sometimes monthly, sometimes weekly, sometimes daily. The money you make gets put back into the account periodically, which means after 365 days, you've made more money than just what the APY has at face value have given you, because you're adding more to your stockpile. So it's the same thing, but looking at cycles. So what this looks like is maybe taking $10,000 today, getting a nice juicy 10x. Maybe your previous goal was a 50x, or like I said before with render, maybe at break even, your previous goal was to still maybe do a 22x. Maybe say, screw the 22x. I just want to get a 10x from this level, or a 5x from this level, or a 2x again from this level, whatever it may be. Getting that here, paying the tax man, so paying your dues, right? Maybe paying the tax man's $25,000 out of the $100,000. So you reinvest in the next bear market, and then you look for, again, another 10x. So doing this, you've turned $10,000 after paying the tax man in the interim. You're walking away with $750,000. Now, if you annualize this, okay, $750,000 over 5 years is $150,000 USD over every single year. That is a full, proper, well-paying salary. Okay, so again, you're removing the idea of having to like 40 or 50x in this bull run and saying, you know what, once I'm back to break even, again, not going to be overly, risky or bullish. I'm just going to secure some gains in here and look for a bit less. It's all about perspective, guys. It's all about looking a little bit longer than just the next 12 months or the next few months. Now, I know some people may look at what I'm saying here and go, well, Kyron's just pessimistic now. He's bearish. He's telling us to be conservative, not overly bullish. No, what I'm saying is if you're one of the two people who are very, very worried right now, these are ways you can minimize that worry and breathe a bit easier and enjoy your life and enjoy time with the family and get outside and touch grass, not something I do very often, to be honest with you, then that applies for you, okay? If you're like me and you're very, very bullish right now, then you're still bullish right now, okay? You're not as worried. I mean, guys, the setup in general right now looks the same as it did. This is for Ethereum back before we had the massive run up, okay? It's just taken much, much longer. You can see in purple here, ETH's dominance has finally bottomed like it did over here. Yes, we may chop around these lows like we did back over here for a little bit, but again, it's doing the same things as it did. It just took a lot longer, and I think one of the reasons why is because ETH hung around up here in terms of dominance for a little too long. It was around 20% dominance for a very, very long time. It's found its way back home, as Ben Cohen would say. It's found its typical resistance at about 10%, of course, and it's moving up. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just my 2 cents. You know, I spend the time in crypto 24/7 because by you watching and supporting this channel, that's what you're effectively saying is, Kyron, I don't have the time to do this research. Can you help do it for me and give me some pointers here and there? That's what I'm here to do. That's why I say I'm here to help you guys most and foremost. With that said, I'm thinking for today's emoji, we keep it simple, all right? Because this video, I think, is keeping things simple and breaking it down. So just a love heart emoji if you made it this far. And look, if you did make it this far, I know you guys would love the private community. We break stuff like this down many, many times during the week. We have a great group of people, of course, in there as well. And I'm hiring some macro experts to come in and provide us the macro news so every base is possibly covered. Link in the description. Join the vault. I'll see you in there. Take good care. Bye-bye.